The fluorescent lights hummed overhead as Colleen Murphy pushed the wheelchair down the sterile corridor of St. Mary's General Hospital in downtown Chicago. Her worn sneakers squeaked against the polished linoleum floor, each step echoing the rhythm of her exhaustion. The elderly woman in the wheelchair, Mrs. Patterson, sat quietly with her hands folded in her lap, her weathered face turned toward the window as they passed. "Room 314 is just around the corner," Colleen said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. She had learned over the past month that most patients preferred the quiet. Some were too weak to speak, others too frightened about what awaited them behind the next door. Mrs. Patterson nodded without turning around. "Thank you, dear. You're very kind." Colleen's chest tightened. Kind. If only Mrs. Patterson knew the truth. If only she knew that Colleen wasn't here out of kindness, but out of desperation. The stack of overdue bills sitting on her kitchen table back in her one-bedroom apartment told a different story. The eviction notice taped to her door 3 days ago painted an even grimmer picture. She had been working at the hospital for exactly 32 days now, not as a nurse or aide, but as a volunteer. The irony wasn't lost on her. Here she was, helping others navigate their medical crises while drowning in her own financial emergency. Her mother's medical bills from her battle with cancer had consumed every penny of Colleen's savings. Even after her mother's passing 6 months ago, the debt collectors continued their relentless pursuit. "Here we are," Colleen announced as they reached room 314. She positioned the wheelchair carefully beside the bed and engaged the brake. "Do you need help getting settled?" Mrs. Patterson reached out and patted Colleen's hand. "You remind me of my daughter. She moved to California years ago. Doesn't visit much anymore." Her eyes held a distant sadness that Colleen recognized all too well. "Sometimes I wonder if she even remembers my voice." Colleen helped Mrs. Patterson transfer to the bed, arranging her pillows with gentle precision. "I'm sure she thinks about you every day. Distance doesn't diminish love." As Colleen prepared to leave, Mrs. Patterson called out, "What's your name, dear? I've seen you here every day for weeks, but I never asked." "Colleen. Colleen Murphy." "Well, Colleen Murphy, you have a gift. Not everyone can bring comfort to strangers the way you do." Walking back toward the volunteer coordinator's office, Colleen passed the billing department. Through the glass window, she could see people hunched over computers, their faces illuminated by the glow of screens filled with numbers and codes. She wondered how many families were represented in those files. How many people like her were struggling to make sense of medical bills that seemed to multiply overnight. The coordinator, Janet Williams, looked up as Colleen entered. "How was your shift today?" "Good. Mrs. Patterson is settled in 314, and I helped transport 3 other patients to their appointments." Janet marked something on her clipboard. "You know, Colleen, I've been watching you work. You have a natural way with the patients. Have you ever considered pursuing formal training in healthcare?" Colleen's laugh was hollow. "I can barely afford groceries, let alone tuition." "Well, there might be opportunities here. The hospital has scholarship programs for dedicated volunteers. Something to think about." As Colleen gathered her things, she noticed a man in an expensive suit talking quietly with one of the hospital administrators near the elevator. His silver hair was perfectly styled, and his posture exuded the kind of confidence that came with financial security. She wondered what it would feel like to walk through the world without the constant weight of financial anxiety pressing down on her shoulders. The November air bit at her cheeks as she stepped outside. Chicago's skyline stretched before her, a testament to ambition and success that felt impossibly distant from her current reality. She pulled her thin jacket tighter and began the 20-minute walk to her apartment, passing bustling restaurants and shops that she could no longer afford to enter. Her phone buzzed with a text from her landlord. "Rent overdue, need payment by Friday or proceeding with eviction." Colleen stopped walking and leaned against a building, closing her eyes. The weight of her situation pressed down on her like a physical force. She had been so focused on helping others at the hospital that she had almost forgotten about her own crumbling world. Almost. The next morning brought a biting wind that cut through Colleen's jacket as she hurried toward the hospital. She had spent the night lying awake, calculating and recalculating her finances, trying to find a solution that simply didn't exist. Her volunteer work provided no income, but it was the only thing that gave her days structure and purpose. "You're early today," Janet observed as Colleen signed in at the volunteer desk. "Couldn't sleep. Thought I might as well make myself useful." Janet handed her the day's assignment sheet. "We have a special request today. There's a gentleman in the executive wing who specifically asked for you. Says he's been watching you work and wants to discuss something." Colleen's stomach dropped. "Did I do something wrong?" "Not at all. Quite the opposite, I think. His name is Robert Ashford. He's in room 501. The executive wing of the hospital was a world apart from the general patient areas where Colleen usually worked. The walls were painted in warm, calming colors rather than institutional white. Real artwork hung in frames, and the furniture looked like it belonged in a high-end hotel rather than a medical facility. Room 501 was a suite with a sitting area and a view of the city. The man Colleen had seen the day before was sitting in a wheelchair by the window, no longer wearing his expensive suit, but rather a hospital gown and robe. His silver hair was slightly disheveled, and his confident posture had been replaced by the careful movements of someone managing pain. "Mr. Ashford, I'm Colleen Murphy. I understand you wanted to see me?" He turned from the window, and she was struck by the intelligence in his eyes. "Yes, please sit down. I want to talk to you about something important." Colleen perched on the edge of the chair across from him, her hands folded in her lap. "If this is about my work, I can assure you that I follow all the hospital protocols." "It's not about protocols," he interrupted gently. "It's about character. I've been in this hospital for 2 weeks, and I've been watching how the staff interacts with patients, how they handle the difficult situations that arise here every day. But mostly, I've been watching you." Heat rose in Colleen's cheeks. "I don't understand. You do something that most people don't. You see the person, not just the patient. Yesterday, I watched you spend 10 minutes helping an elderly man find his glasses. They had fallen under his bed and it would have been easier to call maintenance. But you got down on your hands and knees and found them yourself." Colleen shifted uncomfortably. "It wasn't a big deal. It was to him. And last week, I saw you sit with a woman while she waited for test results. You didn't say much, but you stayed with her. That meant everything to her. Mr. Ashford, I appreciate your kind words, but I'm not sure why you wanted to speak with me." Robert leaned forward slightly. "Because I want to help you. And before you say anything, this isn't charity. This is opportunity. I'm sorry, but I think there's been a misunderstanding. I'm just a volunteer here. I don't have any special skills or training. You have something more valuable than training. You have empathy. You have the ability to make people feel less alone in their darkest moments. That's not something you can learn in a classroom." Colleen's mind raced. "What exactly are you proposing?" "I want to offer you a job. Not here at the hospital, but with my company. We provide companion services for elderly clients. People who need someone to talk to, someone to help them with daily tasks, someone to simply be present. The pay is good and there's potential for growth. I don't understand why you would offer this to me. You don't know anything about me." Robert smiled. "I know that you show up every day even though you're not paid. I know that you treat every person with dignity and respect. I know that you're struggling financially. It's written all over your face when you think no one is looking. But mostly, I know that you're exactly the kind of person my clients need." Colleen felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. "This is very generous, but I'm not sure I'm qualified for what you're describing. Let me ask you something. What brought you to volunteer work?" The question caught her off guard. "My mother was sick. Cancer. I spent a lot of time in hospitals, and I saw how much difference it made when someone showed genuine care. After she passed, I wanted to give back. And that's exactly why you're qualified. You understand what it's like to be afraid, to feel vulnerable, to need someone to simply be there. That understanding is worth more than any degree or certification." Colleen stared out the window at the city below. "I have debts, a lot of them. Medical bills from my mother's treatment. I'm facing eviction and I don't know how I'm going to pay for groceries this week. The job comes with a signing bonus, enough to get you back on your feet. And the salary is competitive. You'd be able to handle your debts and still have enough left over to live comfortably. Why are you doing this?" Robert's expression grew serious. "Because 20 years ago, I was in a similar situation. My wife was dying and I was drowning in medical bills. A stranger helped me when I needed it most. I've never forgotten that kindness, and I've made it my mission to pay it forward whenever I can. Colleen felt overwhelmed. I need time to think about this. Of course, but don't take too long. I believe in acting quickly when you find the right person for the job. As Colleen left the executive wing, her mind spun with possibilities. Could this be real? Could her life actually change this dramatically? She had learned to be suspicious of good fortune, but something about Robert Ashford's manner convinced her that his offer was genuine. Colleen spent the rest of her shift in a daze, going through the motions of her volunteer duties while her mind processed Robert's offer. During her lunch break, she called her best friend Sarah, who worked as a teacher in the suburbs. "This sounds too good to be true," Sarah said after Colleen explained the situation. "Are you sure this guy is legitimate?" "I think so. He's been a patient here for 2 weeks and the staff knows him. Plus, he's in the executive wing, which suggests he has the means to back up his offer. But why you? I mean, no offense, but you're a volunteer. There must be hundreds of qualified people he could hire." Colleen had been asking herself the same question. He said it's about character, not qualifications. He's been watching how I interact with patients. And you believe him? I want to. Sarah, I'm running out of options. The eviction notice is real, and I have maybe 2 weeks before I'm out on the street. There was a pause on the other end of the line. What does your gut tell you? That this might be the break I've been praying for. But I'm scared. What if I'm not good enough? What if I disappoint him? Colleen, you're one of the most caring people I know. If this man sees something in you, maybe you should trust his judgment. After hanging up, Colleen returned to her duties with renewed focus. She helped transport patients, delivered flowers to rooms, and provided companionship to those who needed it. Each interaction reinforced what Robert had told her about her natural ability to connect with people. Late in the afternoon, she found herself back on the executive floor, ostensibly to deliver flowers to a patient in room 503. But as she passed Robert's room, she noticed his door was slightly ajar. She could hear him talking on the phone. "Yes, I understand the timeline is aggressive, but I want to move forward with this. She's exactly what we need for the Chicago location." Colleen paused, wondering if he was talking about her. She felt guilty for eavesdropping, but her curiosity got the better of her. Character matters more than credentials in this business. Our clients need authentic human connection, not just professional competence. She hurried past his room, her heart pounding. The conversation seemed to confirm that his offer was real and that he was serious about hiring her. As her shift ended, Colleen made a decision. She knocked on Robert's door and entered when he called out for her to come in. "I've been thinking about your offer," she said without preamble. "And? I want to accept it, but I need to know more details. What exactly would I be doing? Where would I be working?" Robert's face lit up with a smile. "Excellent. Let me explain how this works. My company, Ashford Companion Services, provides in-home support for elderly clients. You would be assigned to specific individuals who need help with daily activities, companionship, or simply someone to check on them regularly." "What kind of activities?" "It varies. Sometimes it's helping with grocery shopping or light housekeeping. Other times it's providing transportation to appointments or social activities. But the most important part is the companionship. Many of our clients are lonely, and having someone to talk to makes an enormous difference in their quality of life." Colleen nodded. "And the pay? Starting salary is $50,000 per year, plus benefits. The signing bonus I mentioned is $10,000, paid upon completion of your first week of training." The numbers took Colleen's breath away. It was more money than she had ever imagined earning. "When would I start?" "Training begins next Monday. You'll spend a week learning about our protocols and meeting some of our current clients. After that, you'll be assigned your own caseload. What about my volunteer work here? That's up to you. Many of our employees find that their hospital experience helps them better serve our clients. But the job will require significant time and energy." Colleen extended her hand. "I accept your offer, Mr. Ashford. And thank you. You have no idea how much this means to me." As they shook hands, Robert's expression grew serious. I want you to understand something, Colleen. This isn't charity. I'm offering you this position because I believe you'll be excellent at it. My clients deserve the best care possible, and I think you can provide that. I won't let you down. I know you won't. Walking home that evening, Colleen felt lighter than she had in months. The weight of financial stress that had been crushing her for so long began to lift. She pulled out her phone and called her landlord. Mr. Peterson, this is Colleen Murphy. I know the rent is overdue, but I'm starting a new job next week. I'll be able to pay everything I owe, plus next month's rent, by Friday. That's good news, Miss Murphy. I was hoping we could work something out. As she hung up, Colleen realized that her life was about to change in ways she never could have imagined. The volunteer work that had seemed like a dead end had somehow led to the opportunity of a lifetime. She thought about her mother, who had always believed that good things happened to good people. Maybe she had been right. 3 weeks later, Colleen stood in the living room of Mrs. Eleanor Whitman's apartment on Chicago's North Side, helping her elderly client organize her medication for the week. The routine had become familiar. Monday through Friday, Colleen spent her days providing companionship and practical support to 3 different clients, each with their own unique needs and personalities. Mrs. Whitman, a retired librarian in her 80s, had become Colleen's favorite client. She was sharp, funny, and had a seemingly endless supply of stories about her decades working in the Chicago Public Library system. You know, Mrs. Whitman said as Colleen arranged her pills in the weekly organizer, I was skeptical when Robert told me about his new hire. I've had companions before, and most of them treated me like I was already dead. Colleen smiled. Well, you're definitely not dead. You're probably more alive than most people half your age. That's exactly what I mean. You see me as a person, not just an old lady who needs help with her pills. Over the past 3 weeks, Colleen had discovered that her clients needed more than just practical assistance. They needed someone to listen to their stories, to laugh at their jokes, to treat them with dignity and respect. It was exactly what she had been doing as a volunteer at the hospital, but now she was being paid well for it. The signing bonus had allowed her to catch up on all her overdue bills and put several months' rent in advance. For the first time in over a year, she had money left over after paying her expenses. She had even been able to afford a few new clothes and a proper winter coat. I have something to tell you, Mrs. Whitman said as they finished organizing the medications. Robert called me yesterday. He wanted to know how you're doing. Oh, what did you tell him? The truth, that you're the best companion I've ever had. And that's saying something, because I've been through quite a few over the years. Colleen felt warmth spread through her chest. That means a lot coming from you. He also told me something interesting. He said that you've been volunteering at the hospital in your spare time. Just a few hours on weekends. I didn't want to abandon the people there completely. Mrs. Whitman studied her with sharp eyes. You know, most people would have quit the volunteer work as soon as they got a paying job. But you're not most people, are you? I guess not. Robert was right about you. He has a gift for seeing potential in people. Later that afternoon, Colleen stopped by the hospital to visit some of the patients she had worked with during her volunteer days. Mrs. Patterson was preparing to be discharged, and she hugged Colleen tightly when she saw her. I was hoping you'd come by, Mrs. Patterson said. I wanted to thank you for everything you did for me. I didn't do anything special. You made me feel less alone. That's everything. Oh. As Colleen made her rounds, she reflected on how much her life had changed. 3 weeks ago, she had been facing eviction and drowning in debt. Now she had a stable job, financial security, and a sense of purpose that went beyond just surviving. Janet Williams found her in the volunteer lounge. I heard about your new job. Congratulations. Thank you. It's been incredible. Are you planning to continue volunteering here? As much as I can. This place taught me so much about myself and what I'm capable of. Well, we're lucky to have you, even if it's just on weekends. As Colleen prepared to leave the hospital, she encountered Robert Ashford in the lobby. He was walking with a cane, but looked much stronger than he had during his stay. Colleen, perfect timing. I was hoping to run into you. Mr. Ashford, you look well. Are you feeling better? Much better, thank you. I actually wanted to talk to you about something. I've been getting outstanding reports about your work from all your clients. They're wonderful people. It's easy to do good work when you care about the people you're helping. That's exactly what I wanted to discuss. I'm expanding the Chicago operation, and I need someone to help train new companions. Someone who understands both the technical aspects of the job and the human element that makes it meaningful. Colleen's eyes widened. Are you offering me a promotion? I'm offering you a chance to help other people find the same opportunity you found. The pay increase would be substantial, and you'd be helping to shape the future of our company. I don't know what to say. Say yes. You have a gift for this work, and you could help others discover their own gifts. Colleen thought about her journey from desperate volunteer to successful professional. It had started with simple acts of kindness, pushing wheelchairs, sitting with frightened patients, treating everyone with dignity regardless of their circumstances. Those small gestures had led to the opportunity of a lifetime. Yes, she said finally. I accept. As she walked home that evening, Colleen reflected on the unexpected path her life had taken. She had learned that sometimes the most profound changes begin with the simplest acts of service. Her volunteer work at the hospital had seemed like a dead end, but it had actually been the beginning of everything. The city lights twinkled around her as she made her way through the familiar streets. Chicago no longer felt like a place where she was barely surviving. It felt like home, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, she was excited about what tomorrow might bring. Her phone buzzed with a text from Mrs. Whitman. Thank you for listening to my stories today. You make an old lady feel like her life still matters. Colleen smiled as she typed back. Your stories matter because you matter. See you tomorrow. As she climbed the stairs to her apartment, Colleen thought about her mother, who had always believed that kindness was never wasted. She had been right. Every moment of compassion, every small act of service, every time she had chosen to see the person rather than the problem, it had all led to this moment. She unlocked her door and stepped into her apartment, which no longer felt like a place she might lose at any moment. It felt like a foundation for whatever came next, and she was ready for all of it.